of what's happening here. Right. Hey, everybody. Justin Chambliss here, and welcome to the live stream on Wednesday nights. We do this every week at this same exact time. And we've been talking about creative real estate strategies lately, and that's been super fun. But we couldn't help get into the topic of pre-foreclosures along with the conversation of creative real estate. And with that, there are questions that I personally refer to this gentleman here in the room with me, Bob. And so about that time, Bob hit me up and he said, "Hey, listen, let's do a workshop on pre-foreclosures." And I was like, "Whoa, yes, that's what I'm talking about." So that's exactly what we have here is this workshop, I guess probably about an hour, where we're going to deal with pre-foreclosures. And I think that's hugely important. First of all, let me say thank you for being here. All right. Thank you for sharing your life and your time with us this evening. And I know we have a good number of folks watching. Let me see if I can monitor the chat a little bit. I don't have the ability to put it on the screen tonight, your chat, like I usually do. But we do have the ability to see the chat. So go ahead and let me know you're there. It looks like we do have a decent number of folks watching. Let me know you're there in the chat. Hey, thanks, Greg. And I appreciate you letting me know you're out there. It helps us know that we're connecting with you and that this is a topic that you care about and that you are excited to hear about. Thank you, DC. All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're here. This is an open forum chat event, okay, just like normal. So I'm going to be monitoring the chat all evening as we talk about the topic of pre-foreclosures. All right. And so I want you to go ahead and put your questions as we discuss in the chat. Or even better yet, listen, if you want to come in here into the Zoom room, you can. It's zoomjustin.com. All right. So if you want to pop in here to the Zoom room, feel free to zoomjustin.com. Otherwise, feel free to talk in the chat, everybody. All right. So it's good to see folks watching. And we, like I said, we do have a good number of folks. Let me know you're there in the chat. And let's connect. I'm about to turn this over a little bit here to Bob because I want to get right into the topic. I don't want to waste a lot of time lollygagging here, but maybe just one more moment longer. I want everybody to remember to check out shutupmoney.com. I'm giving away a course there. And I believe by the end of the workshop here tonight, there'll be another free course. I believe. Don't hold me to that, okay? But I believe Bob's got something as well. So anyway, zoomjustin.com if you want to come in here live with us or be in the chat there. We're going to talk about pre-foreclosures all night. When I say pre-foreclosures, Bob, we were just talking about this. Why is this a huge topic, dude? Why is this a huge topic for 2023?
Yeah, guys, right now, pre-foreclosures are an absolute must for any investor out there. The reason is, well, there's several reasons. Number one, they're very under the radar right now, okay? For the past 2.5 to 3 years, right when the, when the pandemic, and I'm trying to watch my words, Justin, so I don't get you taken down again like that one time. Right when the pandemic hit, banks enacted what's called mortgage moratoriums. So, I'm sorry, the government enacted mortgage moratoriums for lenders, which no matter how far somebody got behind on their mortgage, banks were legally not allowed to foreclose. Because of this, most investors out there just kind of let pre-foreclosures go by the wayside. They just stop marketing to mortgage delinquent sellers. And a lot of people still have that mentality right now. Okay. So that's reason number one why you need to be laser focused, ready to market to mortgage delinquent leads. A couple statistics here too. Nationally, okay, month over month, right now as we speak, mortgage delinquency is up 13% month over month. And that's on a national scale, guys. So that's including markets where there's not a lot of mortgage delinquency. Okay, so if you're operating in one of these markets that has higher mortgage delinquency, it's way higher than 13%. All right.
Yeah.
Active pre-foreclosures are up in all 50 states.
Okay. Hold on. Time out.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about how to find these and then how to acquire these and then what to do with these?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, of course.
You had me going for a second. I was like,
yes,
oh,
sir.
wait a minute.
Yeah. Guys, they're up in all 50 states. And year over year, there's a 22% jump in active foreclosures. So I just kind of want to plant that in your head of why you need to be on the lookout and even going after mortgage delinquent leads. There's a lot of people in the country right now that cannot make their mortgage payment.
Man, is it because they paid too much? They bought too much house a year or two ago?
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons, man, but that's actually an excellent point. So in my opinion, Justin, there's two reasons. One is exactly what you just said. People overpaid. I get that interest rates are low and they're historically low, but when you have people overpaying by like right, crazy amounts because they get into bidding wars because there's no inventory, you get into trouble. You have no equity to sell your property and your mortgage payments are too high. It's too much money. And then number two, look what's going on in the economy. People are getting squeezed at the gas pump, in the grocery store, utility bills are skyrocketing.
Yeah.
The less disposable income people have, the less money they have to pay their mortgage when they get in a bind. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
Wow. Adjustable rate mortgages. That's a thing, right?
It's definitely a thing. I think there's less of those right now compared to the last crash, Justin, to be honest, but
I think you're right.
Out there. Look at commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Commercial real estate is a lot of that. They're going to be in big trouble, but that's a different subject.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just asking because, what I hear on the news and everything, I'm just trying to get some clarity on. So obviously what you just said, if I'm to sum it up, the country boy terms is there's one heck of a great opportunity coming for smart real estate investors that are open to doing what it takes to acquire these, find these first and acquire these. Is that how we want to break this down? Do we want to do that? Everybody put questions in the chat as we talk tonight, but Bob, I know you got some things you could share a screen and everything, and feel free to do that if you want to, man, but
we'll just let it roll.
Do we maybe want to talk about how to find pre-foreclosures right away, since we just discussed the need, why this is important to create, why this topic is important to creative real estate investors in 2023 in particular, and going into 2024. So what do we do now? We got to find them, right? So how can we talk about getting the pre-foreclosure lead? And then I want to talk about what does it take to get one to do business with you, and what are we going for here? What is the goal? And I know what I mean is there are different homeowners in different situations, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even though they're all in pre-foreclosure, what does that exactly mean? Maybe that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Pre-foreclosure, what is that?
Guys, pre-foreclosure is when the homeowner gets around the 90-day mark of not paying the bank their mortgage.
That's all it takes is 90 days.
90 days, give or take,
Okay.
because some banks are super backed up. They might not send the letter out yet, but all in all, once they hit that 90-day mark, The bank
Okay.
is going to file a foreclosure. Okay, that means they're going to put a lis pendens against the title.
Liz
And they're,
Penzance. Yes. I've
yes,
heard that.
yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. And they're going to start the process of taking the property back, Justin. That's literally
Okay.
what it is in its simplest form.
Now that process may take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 36 months. We don't really know, do we?
Nope, depends on the state. That's actually a great question. But guys, there's two separate, and this is extremely important. So whoever's out there listening, find out whatever states you guys are investing in. You need to find out whether it's a judicial or a non-judicial state. The reasoning is because of what Justin just said, the length of time the foreclosure process takes. In a judicial state, it goes very slow because the bank, in order to foreclose on the seller, they have to actually enter into a lawsuit, sue the seller, and take them through a long ass court process.
Right.
Versus non-judicial, they don't have to do any of that.
Right.
Okay, so it's a lot quicker. You need to know that as an investor, guys, because if you come across a homeowner in pre-foreclosure, you need to know how much time you have to help them out and make a deal for yourself.
Boom.
Right, so find that out now.
Okay. On the heels of that, when is it too late? Okay. In other words, as a creative real estate investor, I found somebody that's in pre foreclosure. It's not a new event. They've been in pre foreclosure past the 90 days mark when it started. Well, they were 90 days late, like you said. It started being in pre foreclosure. They got the letter. It's been 9 months. Let's say just nine. Some random long time. It's been 9 months. So they got another letter saying that the house is going to be sold, and it's really, really soon. When is it too late for you or me or a creative real estate investor? When are we going to be like, okay, this is out of my hands now? Does that make sense?
Yeah. As long as you, as the investor, know how to get a foreclosure sale date postponed, which there's strategies. I could go into that too. There's a couple strategies to do that. As long as you know how to do that in your local market or whatever market you're virtually investing in, it's never too late.
Okay, because it can be stopped within hours of the sale.
Yep.
Okay. So that's good to know. Now, another thing about pre foreclosures that I think before we get into getting the leads, what about pre foreclosures? Some of them, let's just assume some basic numbers here. The house is worth $100,000. Okay, I'm going to say it slow so everybody can keep up because it's late. $100,000 is the value. Okay, let's say they are in hock to the bank now, in default, behind. Okay, they're in pre foreclosure. They're in default, but they owe $90,000. Okay, would you ever run into that scenario where they have equity still left? Would you run into a scenario where they have no equity left? Would you run into a scenario maybe where they owe 105%, where the house is only worth 100, they owe 105, or maybe more? Are all of these people I'm going to experience in my pre-foreclosure business?
Of course, yes. Equity.
Okay.
So equity doesn't matter when it comes to a pre-foreclosure. The only reason equity matters is that's going to determine your exit strategy. You have a super motivated seller. They just want out. They want to avoid foreclosure. They have a ton of equity. Cool. You could wholesale it. Or, you have a pretty wholesaling like Justin teaches. If the arrears aren't that much, you could catch up their arrears. You could do a lease option, right?
You could do a subject to, correct?
Sub two. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of sub two investors that literally make their bones off of pre-foreclosure leads. They love pre-foreclosure leads.
There you go.
You just got to catch up the arrears and then boom, you're good.
I got a little course on that, everybody, and it's free. So is it okay if I plug that right now?
Let me tell you something. I took your lease options course. I never took your sub two course. I should take that one. I took your lease option one, and guys, no bullshit. It is a tremendous course because I don't know. I mean, now I know about lease options. Taking it, I had like the equivalent of like a toddler. I barely knew what a lease option was, but the way you break it down, Justin, is like Literally, so like somebody like me, like a third grade level can understand it. It's awesome.
Aw, you're such a sweet guy. Thank you
Just
so
being
much, Bob.
honest.
Thank you. You're a nice guy. I appreciate that. I, I do appreciate that. Thank you. We got questions here in the chat too, Bob.
Fair way.
One is, and I know we're going to get there, so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet because I want to take this a little bit in order, but because I want to talk about getting leads and all that. But somebody wants to know: is there a class for how to stop a foreclosure? In other words, the date is pending really, really close to right now. It's it's going to happen soon.
Yeah.
How do we stop this to buy time? Is there a class? What do you recommend? How do we get caught up on that? Because I know you probably could spend a whole workshop on just that topic alone.
Probably, yeah. And let me preface this because this is recorded. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. Okay.
Mm,
Guys, there's three ways you could
me
typically
neither.
stop a sale. First and foremost is the most ideal, but it happens less. It's get an attorney, get a foreclosure attorney. Typically, this doesn't work because the seller that's in pre-foreclosure isn't liquid enough, right? They don't have enough money to pay an attorney. Okay. So if you can't do that, option number two that I really love to do is to file what's called a motion to stay. Okay, it's a motion with the county where the property is located. You file a motion to essentially postpone the foreclosure sale date. Every county has its own form. You could typically get it from their website.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Ones that don't have a form, guys, type up a letter. It's a motion letter. You want to title it motion to postpone foreclosure. Make sure you have the property address, owner's signature, and the docket number. All right, get that docket number, put it on there. And then what you're doing with that letter is you're requesting a hearing from a local judge. Okay, you want the homeowner to get in front of that judge, state their hardship, beg, plead, do whatever they have to do. And then the judge is gonna, if they agree, they're gonna postpone they're gonna stop it dead in its track. They're gonna postpone it till a way later date.
Got it. That's incredible information.
Yeah,
And
now let me just preface this though, Justin, because this is important. Not every county allows that process, just so you guys know. That's a lot more common in judicial states, like I was saying
okay.
before. Okay, because there's more of a court process. And even, sometimes we'll be doing a short sale or like a pre-foreclosure lead in the county, we never did it. I'll call them up and they'll say, what the hell are you even talking about? No, you can't do that. So it doesn't work all the time, but when it does, it's extremely effective.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
super good. I bet folks out here watching some didn't even know that existed.
No.
It's good to see maybe a lot of us.
I have another one, Justin, if I could
yeah,
say another one.
yeah, please do. That's
Yeah,
great.
guys, it's called a skeletal bankruptcy.
Okay.
You had someone on, I feel like, to talk about this once, didn't you? Or no, am I making that up? I feel like a while ago you did.
Um, I don't believe he called it that, but I do
No?
recall somebody mentioning this as a technique, and I often wondered if you could talk the homeowner into it easily.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best at that because I don't really like to give a sales pitch and talk them into it. I'm like very transparent. You know what I
I
mean?
know
I'm like,
that's what I
listen,
just said. I was like, I don't know how you talk them into
yeah,
this.
yeah, coerce them into
Yeah.
filing bankruptcy. No,
Uh,
usually I just let them know, hey, listen, let me try to file a motion for you. See if that's an option. If it's not an option, I let them know about the skeletal bankruptcy.
hmm,
Automatic lights. Let them know about the skeletal bankruptcy. And, I let them make the decision for themselves. Really, I don't
yeah.
force them into it. But essentially what it is, guys, is they go down, they file all the paperwork and pay the filing fees for the bankruptcy. Once they do that, the bank is forced to stop the auction, stop the foreclosure, immediately. And then they
Yeah.
just go through with they don't go through with the whole bankruptcy process.
So then they just cancel the petition
Pretty
or
much,
whatever. Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah. Interesting. I have heard that. I don't remember who it was, but that one there. Yeah. I heard
Guys,
that.
now that we're on this subject, something important too. what I would highly suggest doing, especially if you're like in a, you guys are making offers in like virtual markets and you don't really know that well, you should get on this ASAP, call up the county in whatever market you're investing and start to get this information. Call them up and ask them what the process is to file a motion to stop a foreclosure sale, because you're really going to need this right now. Banks are
Wow.
sprinting to the finish line to foreclose right now because they're getting all that bad debt off their books, who they couldn't
Okay.
foreclose upon these past, 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, get on
Okay.
it before you're even in this situation.
Word to the wise.
Yes.
Hit rewind. Listen to the last 45 seconds again, because in your local market, you best be taking heed of what he just said, right? That's what I heard, guys. I don't know about you, but that's what I heard. Okay, so great information, Bob. Somebody wants to know the best way to approach someone in pre-foreclosure, but first let's talk about leads. Let's get leads. How do we get leads?
Leads. I will start you off with my absolute favorite that I obsess over because it's one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest lead generation tools ever, and it's so underrated. Mortgage modification leads. Guys, I preach about these all the time because I do it in my business. I'm not a sales guru and I don't, no, like I do these every day in my business, and we get deals in my business. So when you're prospecting to people who are behind on their mortgage, especially pre-foreclosure lists, a large percentage of people you guys are going to reach want to keep their property. They do not want to sell. Okay. Typically it's for emotional reasons. Maybe they, raised their family in the house. Maybe it was their first ever investment property. Whatever the case is, most people want to keep the home. So the bank gives them the option to apply for what's called a mortgage modification. All this is an application the homeowner fills out. Okay. Along with the application, they have to submit bank statements, pay stubs, tax returns, all of their income and expense information, and the bank is going to review it. If the bank approves the modification, they're going to give them a second chance to pay their loan. They're going to reinstate the mortgage. They're going to give them brand new mortgage terms, and they're going to allow them to keep the property and make their payments. Right. Okay. That's what a mortgage modification is.
And wait a minute, Bob.
Yeah.
Everybody that wants a loan modification because they're in trouble with their mortgage and they want it modified and fixed where they can continue on and healthy with it. Everybody that wants one gets one, right?
Hell no.
What?
In fact, the majority of people who apply for mortgage modifications, guys, it gets declined. Okay, it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality.
I thought the bank wanted them to be good so that they wouldn't have to get the house back. You know what I mean? Like I've been told that the bank didn't want to foreclose because they didn't want the house. They'd do anything to work this out with the homeowner. But what you're saying is the majority of these loan mod applications get rejected.
Yeah. The reason, and Justin, you're not wrong. So you're right in the beginning. Once a homeowner falls behind, if I own a house, Justin, and I'm 3-4 months behind, the bank is calling me every day, asking me to apply for a mortgage modification, 100%. But once I apply and they look at that my income hasn't increased and my expenses haven't decreased, well, why would they reinstate my loan? They have to see an improvement. Yeah.
So it's just if their situation is a bleak one, it's a lost cause in a sense,
The lost cause. Yeah. The lost cause. So what happens, guys, and here's where the opportunity lies. What you do. So first off, let me back up. Whoever your competitors are that are calling pre-foreclosures and marketing to them in your market, I guarantee you they hang up on these leads because it's a dead lead. Talk to the homeowner. The homeowner says, thanks, but no thanks. I'm working it out with my bank. You're going to hang up the phone and move on. Instead, what you want to do is stay on the phone. You want to build rapport and you want to be supportive. That's very important. Be supportive of their decision. Do not try to convince them to sell, give them a sales pitch of why they need to sell instead of keeping it, because all you're going to do is distance yourself from them. They're not going to trust you. Don't do that. Wish them luck, be supportive, and then guys, end the call asking the homeowner, hey, listen, I know you want to keep the property, and I hope it works out for you. If you don't mind, I'd like to be here for you just as a plan B, just in case. And then you ask permission to check in with them during the modification process, which, by the way, guys, takes several months. It's like a short sale. It takes several months to complete.
Okay, so we've got to find these loan modification leads, and I want you to tell us how we do that. But
yeah,
once somebody applies for a loan modification, it takes a few months. You're going to build rapport with them. You're going to stay in touch with them. You're going to be friendly and you're supportive, and you're going to make them like you and respect you along the process of the several months that it takes to do a loan modification. If it is approved, they are no longer in foreclosure, correct?
correct. And then,
Okay.
Justin, if I could just clarify and be even more specific, because we even have this down to a science, the way you want to follow up. So, all right, end the phone call. Like I said, build rapport, be supportive, ask for permission to follow up. They're always going to say yes because you're not being pushy. Go in your CRM, guys, right after that call. You want to set a follow-up for once every 3 weeks. Okay, that's what you want to do, once every 3 weeks on the dot. And when you follow up with them, you want to call and text. Most of the time, they're not going to answer, so you need to leave a voicemail. This stuff kind of sounds silly almost, but like I'm telling you, the point of it is because it takes so long for this modification, you need to, they're always going to hear your voicemail and look at the text message. So you need to give them your first and last name or your teammate's first and last name, because you want that brand etched in their head, number one.
Right.
And then number two, even though they're not calling you back, you're actually building trust with them. Right. Because you're doing exactly what you said you were going to do on the call.
So you're basically taking a stranger, making them an acquaintance, and then taking that acquaintance and turning them into a friend, right? And then from a friend into someone trusted enough to do business with.
Yeah.
And so it's a bit of a journey with these folks, and you're not sure which ones are going to get approved or not approved for the modification, but you're saying that a majority of these do not get approved for the modification. And so they're still in hot water, and now they need real help. Right. 100%. And that's where you come in, right?
I never put it like that, but hell yeah, I love that. You're taking them on a journey. And again, don't be lazy about it, because you're doing so much follow-up. You're going to be tempted to be lazy. Make sure you leave a voicemail when they don't answer with your first and last name. Hey, Joe, Bob Vieira here, just checking in. I know we spoke a couple weeks ago about your mortgage mod. Just want to see how, be super chill, super casual. I just want to see how the process is coming along. Make sure you don't need anything on my end. Again, Bob Vieira, blah, 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 number. And hang up the phone, send a text message with the same gist every single time.
Good tip.
Guys, at the end of that process, you're almost guaranteed, as long as they want to sell and they're not just like, screw it, I'm going to let it foreclose. First off, they're going to have to sell. It's their only option. Second off, you are going to get the deal over somebody that's just randomly cold calling them. You're going to get the deal because they like you and they trust you, and you weren't being pushy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Exactly. So they're gonna, when the modification gets turned down, they're gonna need something.
That's a killer way to get deals.
Yeah,
killer way.
Here you are. You're already in like a relationship with them.
Already in a relationship. And Justin, to answer your question too about, that's actually the best part about them. What you asked is, how do you find these leads? Guys, the best part is you can't pull a list. So legally, the bank, like if I needed to do a mortgage modification and I apply for one, the bank can't give that information out to the public. But that's the best part about it because you're building this list organically. And if you're hitting enough pre-foreclosures, which I think you should, pre-foreclosure prospecting is an absolute volume game. So as long as you guys are hitting the right amount of volume that you should, you're going to get a ton of these modification leads and you're building a list organically. So then over time, you're just going to start getting leads. It's going to be like a funnel that just drops leads in your lap.
We got to know what the numbers are now, man. You opened up the can. Okay, because you said that we got to hit some numbers.
Yep.
Okay, and also I want to know, do you have more to say about locating these? But also the numbers, because if I've got to hit a numbers, because all real estate seems like kind of comes back to even I teach numbers game, right? Marketing is a numbers game, right? Hey, unless you're God, marketing is a numbers game for you. Okay. So you've got to play the numbers. What are the numbers exactly in pre-foreclosures?
So are we talking modification pipeline?
Yeah. You said I've got to reach a good number of them. What did you have in mind?
Give me one sec. I'll actually pull it up and I'll give you guys.
Is that a fair question, Bob?
Yeah. I'm looking it up right now. I'll tell you exactly what I have in my pipeline right now.
Okay, cool. And put your questions in the chat, everybody. We got a good audience watching. God bless you for being here. Thank you. Looking to prosper in the coming year with the economy and the market and the pre-foreclosures. Hey, you know what? We are too. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be in a good position and come out above and beyond, your peers because you're smart. Hey, that's what you should be doing. Thanks for being here tonight. If you've got questions, put them in the chat. We'd love to see that. We've got a bunch of folks putting things in the chat already. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you, Ambitious Journey, and everybody for your gratitude. We've got a lot of people watching. We've got a couple people here in the Zoom room. All right. So I'll be monitoring the chat, by the way. But let's talk more about these pre-foreclosure leads. I was just asking a question about them, wasn't I? What was that?
I got that answer for you. So active mortgage modifications, guys, right now, we have 100 and I forgot. I literally just 130 active mortgage modification leads in our pipeline right now.
Okay. From one geographic metropolitan or all around?
No, when it comes to specifically mortgage delinquent sellers, for those of you watching this who don't know, I specialize very, very heavily in short sales. And my short sale process, we do those around the country. So we're constantly getting JV leads, referral deals. So, I mean, they're scattered everywhere, Justin. But listen, if you're in the right market, guys, like there is no reason you can't stack up as many more mortgage modification leads I have in one metropolitan area. There's a lot of counties out there with a shit ton of pre-foreclosures right now. So,
okay, you got me dreaming, dude.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say we're going to talk more about how, because I know everybody wants to hit rewind and hear that again, because not also, geez Louise, everybody. Hey, will you do me a solid and put it in the chat if you're actually going to hook up with somebody at the courthouse on the phone and say, hey, listen, where do I find? Are you going to go to a website? Are you going to find the petition to stay? That's what he said. Do you should do okay in your market area. All right, that's step number one, and then getting these pre-foreclosure leads, recognizing the loan mod situation that's happening for most of them. Following up every 3 weeks, magic number, ding, 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 ding. Okay, right. The process of following up, building relationships, staying cool, keeping it cool every 3 weeks until they get turned down for the loan mod. Then you're going to have some kind of question about, we're going to acquire this property from them. They want to sell. They need to sell. we're thinking what subject to? We're thinking maybe short sale if they're underwater. Can
Yeah.
we talk about that, Bob? What do you
Yeah.
think? And then also, I don't know. There's probably more we need to say about the conversation with these homeowners too. But
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So real quick, Josh, too, because you actually just brought something up. You're saying about how people need to call the courthouse. Guys, it's not just about convenience either. If I could just make another comment on that. When you have your shit together and you're talking to a homeowner that's facing auction, obviously you're not the only person talking to them. Okay. The fact that you have your paperwork ready, right, to file a motion to stay, the fact that you know the process already to do it, that's going to help you get the deal because the seller is very frantic. They're going to want to do business with somebody who knows the process, who knows who's like not playing guessing games, who is ready to submit the paperwork to get their property stopped from auction. So like really that's a part of your pitch to the seller too.
sorry, so that way you're not like, hey, this homeowner is really finally figured out what's happening to them, and the sale is next Friday. Justin, what was that form called, and where do I get that? Okay,
Yeah.
you don't want that.
No, but exactly. And you're guys, the fact that you could talk to a homeowner and be confident and explain to them the process they need to go through to stop that foreclosure auction, you're gonna beam confidence on them and they're gonna want to give the deal to you because you're adding actual value. You're not just one of these investors, making them a
Yeah.
low cash offer.
And you're going to encourage them that if they want to go through a loan modification process, hey, you know what? You guys ought to. If you feel like you want to do that, why not do that? Because
Yeah,
I'm going to hang out with you, call you every 3 weeks. We're going to be buddies. And when that stuff doesn't work out, guess what? I've got solutions for you, baby. Right?
that's it. Now don't say you're gonna call them once every 3 weeks. Just
Right. Don't tell them
keep
what
it
you're going to
casual.
do.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Got it.
Keep
All
it
right.
casual. Just say you're gonna check in with them every, because if you're saying like I'm gonna follow up once every 3 weeks, they're big. What the hell? It's a little specific.
Right. And don't say baby at the end.
I mean,
That's great. Okay, so I think that lays out pretty step by step the process. Acquisition wise, let's talk about that. If you've got questions, again, put them in the chat. I'm monitoring the chat here on all these different platforms, no matter where you are. So, um, acquisitions, obviously, if they're underwater, we're thinking what short sale. Bob, I want you to take a minute and plug your short sale business because you are the premier short sale business in all of the United States.
yeah,
To me, you ask me that hands down, Bob Vieira,
I agree.
universalshortsales.com.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah. I own Universal Short Sales. We're the fastest growing short sale operation in the entire country. What we do,
There
we
you go.
process short sales literally from start to finish. So we handle the whole thing. Short sales are chaotic. They're long. They're a nightmare. I have a full-time staff in place with a full-time short sale processor. We literally have the short sale process broken down into 12 steps. It's a science. So
Wow, it's a 12-step program, everybody.
it's a
Hi,
12.
my name is Justin. I'm in pre foreclosure. It's been 30 days since on my letter.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, we do. We do. So whenever you get one of these leads, guys, send them over to us. We will JV with you. We will do everything. You don't have to lift a finger, and we pay you 20% of whatever we net. It used to be a flat fee, and now we give 20% of the net profit. So and again, that's months and months of work that we do.
Yes. I have people ask me, Justin, do you do short sales? And then I had, it's great. I had somebody ask me the other day, they were like, what about this short sale? I was trying to do one, and then it ended up taking like, I don't know, several months. And then
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just like, golly, I was waiting on the money forever. And then by the time I got the money, I was like, what do I do? Now I need way more money. And I was like, you know what? I don't even do it. Why even do it? You know what? If you study success, you need to, if you can't beat the best, then just support them, right? That's what I feel like. So like there's no way I can do anywhere near the kind of job Bob does on these. So I just partner up with Bob and let him do anything that I have of that nature. Anything in my club that anybody has that's underwater and behind in default. Okay, that's the qualifications for a short sale, by the way. Anything like that, I hand it to Bob. Why? Because Bob will work it for me. I don't have to think about it no more. And then you know what? I get paid on the back end. And somehow after I've forgotten about it, all of a sudden here's some money.
Yeah, guys,
it's like magic.
Awesome, and we're awesome. We're actually, it's literally our tagline. We are number one when it comes to communication and updates during the short sale, because we all know those people out there who you refer a lead to, not even a short sale, just any kind of lead they say they could help with, and then a lead disappears into the abyss, whether they steal it on you or they just, they're not organized enough to update. I mean, that happens. So we take that very serious. Whenever you submit a lead to us, you get in your inbox every 30 business days on the dot exactly where your lead is that you sent us. Our whole system is automated.
It's very good, everybody. Very good. I do not recommend, unless you just feel like it's your calling in life, Hallelujah. I'm called to do short sales. If that's not you, it's Bob. So you need to just let Bob do what he does best.
Hallelujah.
All right. Hallelujah. That's his calling. All right. Now your calling's probably to make money quicker than that. Bob's put in his dues. Okay. He's paid the price. Now here's the thing. We have some questions here, but I want to say real quickly, let's move forward. If I'm dealing with a pre-foreclosure that's gone through a modification process and they were turned down, now they're ready to do something with me, the investor, am I going to, if they're underwater and in default like that, I'm going to assume right away this is a good candidate for a short sale and I'm going to contact Bob?
Not necessarily. If they have equity, did they say you're underwater in that?
No, I said they're underwater and in default, okay. So they owe more than the property's worth.
Yes,
now.
That's a short sale.
That's a short sale. So I'm gonna contact Bob. Now, if there's equity at play, in other words, they owe the bank less than the house is worth. Now I'm thinking something different, right? I can't do a short sale. I'm gonna have to do a subject to or something else. Is that correct?
Correct. And I stole this line off Justin. I am a tool in your tool belt. Unless the property has zero equity, pretend I don't exist. You do your thing. Sub 2, lease option if it's a pretty property like Justin talks about, traditional wholesale. Guys, pre-foreclosure deals, a lot of properties are physically distressed. So they make for really good wholesale deals.
Yeah.
Okay. Ugly house wholesale deals. So yeah, there's so many different exit strategies you could do a pre-foreclosure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So at shutupmoney.com or realestatewholesalersclub.com, either one, there is a section about subject to, and I've got some paperwork for you. I've got some training for you on the subject to topic, all free. Okay. You should go check that out if you have it. Because that may come in as something important in your pre-foreclosure business. It may be important. You may end up wanting to do something where you need a purchase and sale agreement, or maybe subject to disclosure. Okay, all of that, be prepared. Again, don't wait until the day you need it. Go now and get ready now. All right. Let's take one short step back and just make it crystal clear, Bob. Somebody put in the chat here, I think I missed it, but where do I get more mortgage modification leads? Is there a list to purchase, or do we just call the banks? Now, let me, before you answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say, I think that we find them by going to PropStream, pulling up folks who have received a notice of default or Liz pendants, same thing, right? And now they are officially in pre-foreclosure. If we find those, and we start contacting them, a good number of them are either going to start the loan modification process, or they are already in the loan modification application process. That is going to be a large percentage of the folks that are in pre-foreclosure. Is that correct, or am I not correct?
You are 100% correct. That is what a notice of default is. You're going to reach out to them in bulk. And then as you're reaching out to
bulk, meaning
as many as there are, as many as you possibly could.
Text, mail. What do I say?
Email is a really good one too. What I would suggest is
door knocking. I've heard that too.
People love that. I have so I shouldn't say never. I have a partner in a New York market that's doing door knocking. We just started, so I have zero data on it, but I know a lot of people that door knock pre-foreclosures, and they go gangbusters. It works very well. I have never gotten a deal from door knocking.
What am I saying? When I pick my media, which by the way, my pocketbook is probably going to determine the media at which I choose to communicate my message. Because like dropping hard mail, snail mail is kind of pricey sometimes, and texting's pretty cheap, and door knocking's maybe even cheaper, maybe, especially if I'm working my local area. Hint, hint. Okay, maybe a combination of all of these, because he said we need to talk to them every 3 weeks. So that's what I would do. But what would we say if I was to, okay, so here's what I mean. Let me break it down. If I'm a real estate investor that's doing lease options, I'm asking this question in bulk. Hey, everybody, I take over house payments. That's my message. Okay. Also, hey, if you'd let me take over your PITI and the repairs, would you allow us to lease the property for X amount of months and purchase the property within that time frame? Yes, can we talk about that or no? What would I say to this pre-foreclosure? Can you sum it up to a question for me that I can kind of plug into my brain, like, boop, there's the pre-foreclosure question. So when we get through the loan modification process, they've been turned down. Now they're looking at me like, what do we do? Are you going to buy the house? How does this work? What are our options? What is the question that I'm going to ask them? Do you have one?
I don't have one that's a setup necessarily.
Okay.
I would say the way you want to structure pre-foreclosure leads in any kind of any kind of mortgage delinquent seller, you literally want to shut up and listen. Number one, they should be doing 80 to 90% of the talking. Okay. You need to have, now, if you're someone who typically uses like a hardline sales script, that's fine. But when you're doing pre-foreclosure prospecting, I would suggest not using the sales script. The biggest thing is you want the conversation to flow. Okay. Because these sellers, Justin, they're in a super stressful situation. It's terrible. It's one of the worst times in their life. The last thing on earth they want is, Justin Chamness, the real estate investor, calling them, just trying to take advantage of their situation. You don't want to come off like that.
What I want to do, if I can share just quickly, because I want to add to that.
Yeah.
What I share with the homeowner is enough friendliness that hopefully they'll share back with me their frustration. Like, oh, I don't want the bank to win, or, oh, I just really want to walk away from this and just get it out of my mind. Or, oh, I wish we could just move on and put this behind me. Or I want them to start sharing emotionally with me a little. And I want to be open to that. And then the question that we ask any homeowner about subject to would be, well, Mr. Homeowner, now you can write this down, everybody. It's on the cheat sheet, though, that I give away. Mr. Homeowner, if we were to take over the house and let you walk away, would you allow us to continue making your mortgage payment, catch it up, make the mortgage payment? Would you allow us to do that until we can get you financed out? You might not even add that part. You might not even say until we can get you financed out. So there's really no, I guess what Bob is explaining to us here is there's no magical words other than what we kind of already know, right? Just be a good person, be an honest person, be a trustworthy person, be a likable person, and then just ask the questions like you already know, Mr. Homeowner, if you're ready to walk away, what if we were to take the house over, catch up the debt, and then continue making the payment for you to save your credit? If we get you out up the road, is that a help to you? Is that something we can talk about? Are you ready to talk about that, or maybe not? What do you think about that, Bob? Am I off base?
Not at all. Not at all. I think the difference is when you say sub two is an actual investing strategy. So there's different ways to, question it if your strategy is sub two.
Correct.
Whereas pre-foreclosure, I wouldn't say it's a strategy, it's a type of lead.
Correct.
So really the question that you want to ask them depends on your strategy. Like, okay, if you want sub two,
right,
ask them what Justin said. If you're going to do a short sale, there's questions there. If they're, you know what I'm saying, a lease option, you have questions. So the questions determine on the strategy.
Perfect. That's what I was trying to say. That whole 10-minute rant, man. Thank you, Bob. Perfectly said. You just pulled it right out of my brain and that was awesome.
Justin, you know what? You just reminded me. So there's actually 4 key questions you always want to ask a pre-foreclosure seller so you could determine your exit strategy.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, guys, when you're talking to them, you don't know what your exit strategy is yet. It depends on their situation.
Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Also, real quick about leads. If we're getting leads like this that are in pre-foreclosure notice of default, that's public record information, right?
Yeah.
So are we exposed to the do not call laws and all that? The do not call list, do we need to scrub it? In other words, Greg is asking that. And Sammy, hopefully that little help there with the questions and talking about it and all that was helpful there. But what about this do not call list? We do need to scrub it. Is that correct? Or
yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
What if? Yeah, so it's the same. But we could knock on the door. We could mail them all something. We could knock on all of their doors. We can't ringless voicemail or text them all or call them without them being scrubbed. Right?
Does the text apply to that? I don't even know. You tell me.
I'm not a lawyer, but yeah. I'm sure it applies.
All right.
Unless you're getting them off something where they, maybe asked to call, like a Zillow. I get houses off Zillow, but that's not pre-foreclosures. Okay. So if you're getting pre-foreclosure data off of PropStream, yeah, you gotta scrub that stuff. Do not call scrub and litigator scrub and all that. God, that's scary. All right.
Guys, there's a tip too. Now that we're on the subject of pulling leads, whenever you're pulling pre-foreclosure leads, you always want to pull 2 separate lists. You pull one list pendants list, like an NOD, notice of default, but pull a separate list for the properties that are on the auction block. Because the way you're marketing to them, your messaging in your marketing is going to be a lot different to each one of those leads. So you never want to lump them all in just in one list. Pull
great
list and then pull a auction list.
Okay. So super good tips, everybody. Write that down. I told you this was going to be banging. It's really good info tonight, Bob. Hey, real quick though, that first message, let's just assume that I'm going to pull a bunch of records off because you told me I got to play the numbers game. I'm going to do in mass here. I'm going to get a bunch of records off of PropStream. I'm going to scrub them. I'm a good boy. Okay. I'm going to scrub them. Wink, wink. I'm going to do all that. No, did I say wink, wink? I didn't. I was just, that you misheard, but I'm going to scrub them. Okay. And then I'm going to send out my text. What does that first text message say, Bob?
Ooh, So I'm the worst at text messages because mine always seem to get flagged by carriers. So thank God for.
Well, okay, I know that's because I have to, you
Dude,
know,
I literally change it. Like if anyone has one that doesn't get flagged, send it to me.
all right.
All right,
So I,
no, but what you will want to know, but you want to be short and sweet and to the point. And I actually get this question a lot.
I mean,
Do I
but
mention when I call them or text them, do I mention that I know they're in
well,
foreclosure?
that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like, how do we? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
what's the
no.
what? Or like, hey, yo, it's Justin. I heard you just losing your house.
Definitely don't do that, guys. Definitely do
You know,
not.
like, I mean, like, so what is the right words? I mean, is there like, I know they're not Yoda words, they're not magic. I don't mean to put any real pressure on you like that either, because I know there are bad words for texting that get caught in the spam filter and all this stuff. But can you give me a general?
Yeah. Yeah, I just keep it simple. I just find different variations of ways to say, hey, it's Bob. Hey, my name's Bob. Calling, reaching out about 123 Main Street. Would you consider selling? Like my
Okay.
messaging is not, the big thing is my messaging is not tailored to them losing their property. Right.
Okay.
That's not a good cold message.
Ding, 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 ding. Write
Yeah,
that
do
down,
not do that.
everybody. Yeah, that right there. It's got to be solution oriented. Hey, you're offering a solution? Hey, would you consider selling?
Yeah, guys.
What is that question? We would normally ask that question of an ugly discounted cash desperate homeowner in a desperate house situation. So
Yeah.
that fits the pre foreclosure model as well. Saw your house, XYZ Avenue. Would you consider selling? Call Bob.
The same thing when you're phone prospecting too. So, for you guys that have VAs calling for you like I do, make sure they're just handling it like a typical seller lead. You don't want them to call, introduce themselves and say, "Hey, I see you're in foreclosure. Can we help?" You don't want to do that because here's the thing. If they want to sell, they're going to let you know. You don't, by you letting them know that the only reason you're calling is because they're in foreclosure. Listen, they know anyway. They know why you're calling. You don't have to say it.
That's super good advice. I hope everybody's appreciating this because this is major value. Major value. Okay. I mean, he's really laid out an entire process of business here and really in detail. I mean, the details baffling in my opinion. Um thankful for this. Thankful for this, Bob. Thank you for
Appreciate
this.
it. Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
You said you have 4 questions that you ask every pre-foreclosure to determine
Yes.
what your exit strategy may be. Please, I want to write these down.
Yeah. Guys, you want to write this down because this, all right, this is your initial call here. So you're building your rapport, you're, doing all that. On your initial call, you need these 4 questions because without them, you're not going to know what your exit strategy is and you're not going to know how much time you have. So question number 1, how many months, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how many months are you behind on your mortgage? That's number 1. If they're deep into pre-foreclosure, they're probably not going to know an exact time frame, but that's question number 1. Get a gauge of how many months they're behind.
All right. Boom. And if you're in tune with your local market and that's where you're doing your deal, you'll kind of have an idea of how long it takes the court system to do a foreclosure process. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Bingo, everybody. Hello. It's not rocket science. Okay. How many months behind?
Yep. The follow-up question to that, once you get that, you ask them point blank, did the bank start the foreclosure process yet? Okay. Is it an active foreclosure situation?
Okay. And they'll know that when they got a letter, or how will they know?
Yeah. Yeah. So So the bank has to notify them in writing, so they will absolutely know that it's that they started the foreclosure process.
Right.
All right, guys, and a big
That's the
reason-
Liz Pendens or notice of default, correct?
notice
Both.
of default. Yep.
Okay. Also
Yep.
called Liz Pendens. It's all the same, right?
Yep, all the
Okay.
same. And the
Okay.
reason you're asking this stuff, guys, is because you need to know how much time you have to help the seller and get the deal done. So these are crucial questions you have to know up front. Question number 3, after you get that information. If the answer is yes, to are they in pre-foreclosure, has the lender given you a sale date? Don't forget to ask this. I'll even admit sometimes when I'm not, so what I did, guys, is I make a cheat sheet for myself. Still, I've been doing, I'm in the short sale business full time. Even I need a cheat sheet. And sometimes when I'm not looking at it, I even forget to ask this third question. Do not forget to ask this. Is there an auction date? Okay, but you don't have to ask it if the property's not in foreclosure yet. Okay, so if the answer to question number 2 is no, they didn't file yet, skip question number 3. But this is a huge one because I'm a dumbass sometimes, forget to ask it. And then I don't know how much time I'm working with until we open up the file with the bank. You need to know this immediately. And then
That's awesome. This is great stuff, Bob.
Yeah, man. And then the fourth question, guys, fourth and final one, get the mortgage balance. All right. How much do you owe the bank? Now, this is important because this is going to determine your exit strategy.
Exactly. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
If they're underwater and in default, meaning they started the foreclosure and they owe more than it's worth.
Short sale.
That's a short sale. If it's not, if there's equity there, there's something else. It's a lease option subject to
Whatever. Exactly.
something creative here. We're going to have to explore some questions at the right time.
Yep. Yep.
Big info, everybody. Wow.
Yeah. Make a little cheat sheet of that, guys. Because like I said, I forget questions all the time. So make a little cheat sheet, put in your Google Drive, whatever, and make sure you get those.
Ooh-wee. All right. I'm going to tell them one more time. How many months behind? Did they start the foreclosure or did it start already? If they say no, then it hasn't started yet. All right. Then you don't ask this next question. But if they do say they have started it, yes, they've started foreclosure. Well, have they given you a sale date? Great. Mr. Homeowner, do you know how much they say you owe them if you were to pay it off, catch it up right now? Oh my heavens, it's 110% of what you I better call Bob.
By the way,
Okay.
guys, just in case you do come across these short sales, 3 factors you're looking for. Number 1, mortgage delinquency. Number 2, underwater, negative equity. So the mortgage balance is more than what the house is worth. And then number 3, they can't be motivated by money. Because in a short sale, they're not making any money. Okay. So once you have a seller there, that's a qualified short sale.
Okay, so let me summarize. And everybody, we need to wrap this up. Because we've been going a while, but if you've got questions, this is the last shot. Put it in the chat, okay? And we'll hit these questions real quick if Bob's got time. But let me summarize. If I'm working with a pre-foreclosure lead, they're probably going to want to do a loan mod. I'm going to let them do that. I'm going to encourage them to do that if that's what they want to do. I'm going to be their friend every 3 weeks. And then when it comes time to sell, I'm going to ask these questions. If I don't know the answers to these 4, I'm somewhere along the process, I'm going to find out all these 4. And if they're underwater, I'm going to monetize that lead by giving you the lead. That's what I would do. Okay. Cause I'm going to let you do a short sale process on it. So I'm going to monetize the lead that way. If they're not underwater, I'm going to make a creative real estate investor offer, and I'm going to monetize the lead that way. So it looks like when I'm working a pre foreclosure lead, I can monetize this thing. If I can just get them to play with me, I can monetize it no matter what it is.
Yes, accurate. Pre-foreclosures, guys, there's so many ways to skin the cat. Because think about it, when you're cold calling other lists, you're first trying to figure out whether or not they're motivated. What is the motivation? Pre-foreclosure list, the motivation's baked in. You know why they're motivated. You know they need to sell. So then that leaves you room and time to go figure out what your exit strategy is.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know you wanted to be in the pre foreclosure business before now, what more needs to be said? I mean, what more really needs to be said? Holy cow! If you're not doing this where you live, why not? That's what I don't understand. If you're not okay, here can I say one thing about this? If you go and you look at one of my any of my videos where I've had Burton Alicondo on from PropStream, if any video where you see him talking about PropStream, what he'll show you is he'll show you that one of the things that you should be doing in your local market is you should be hitting up all of the people with the notice of default pre foreclosures, just like Bob explained. He'll explain to you that you need to stay with them through the whole process, create a relationship with them. I'm just saying this is a genius idea that real estate investors do in their local markets, sometimes outside their local market. So if you want to be in this game in your local market, for sure, you need to be, why not set up an automatic notification? Maybe you've got list manager on PropStream and it just adds these automatically to your marketing list. Okay. But you need to have this on drip. Bob, do you recommend that we set some marketing up to just drip on brand new people with notices of defaults and pre foreclosures and stuff like that?
Of course, you could do that. And then I just like to pull the whole list as well. Pull the whole list because a lot of these people, they know how to work the system and stay in pre-foreclosure. Homeowners I'm talking about. You know, just because
Okay.
a bank files foreclosure doesn't mean they're going to be foreclosed on 30 days later. So yeah, set up a drip
Okay.
like Justin just said, and then also, you know, pull every pre-foreclosure you see, every
Right.
active pre-foreclosure.
Super. Okay, so we've got somebody popping here into the Zoom room, and then um, we have somebody asking a question here about the top 5 states that you like to work in, and we also have somebody asking about competition with others in this pre foreclosure area or arena. What do we expect when it comes to that? Am I going to be, because you said already that other people are going to be talking to these leads as well, not just me. So am I just going to become another voice in the woods, just crying out, "Hey, I'm over here."
There's always going to be competition and everything. It's my biggest advice is focus and track your numbers, because if you're not tracking your numbers, competition is going to seem overwhelming. But if you're prospecting and you understand your numbers, you're tracking how many calls you're making, texts you're sending out, what's your percentage of replies, you know, how many leads are you getting, how many leads convert, so on and so forth, then competition in a sense doesn't really matter, because like everything is just black and white. You know, no matter who the competition is, you need to send X amount of calls to get X amount of leads to get X amount of contracts. So just don't worry about competition.
Yeah. I mean, do you really think there's other people in your market that are hitting up all of these with such a cool and casual message and then following up like a clock every 3 weeks with a plan of action, with the 4 questions, with the strategies, with the paperwork, with the motion to stay? Do you think there's a bunch of people in your local market doing that? I don't think so. I would really doubt it. People are lazy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. When you have the information, guys, especially going back to that motion to stay, when you have that information, again, you're going to seem so much more confident when you're
Mhm.
talking to the seller than your competition is.
Right.
Justin said they're lazy. They're just
Wow.
calling, they're not doing their research like you are.
Bob, I just shared a link that you gave me.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk a little bit about that. I put it in the chat. Hopefully, whatever platform you're watching, I will put it in the description of and but also I put it in the chat just a moment ago. And let me update this. But there's a link here that Bob wants to share with us. Um,
Yeah. While you're doing that, could I address that top 5 states question, Justin?
oh yes.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting question, Lee. So when it comes to pre-foreclosures, every state and every county is not made equally. So if you're listening to this and you operate in these small little rural towns, you might have to reach out to a lot of those towns to get a lot of pre-foreclosures. So the best states right now that have the most active pre-foreclosures, you have Florida, New York, New Jersey,
Woo, woo,
who else?
woo.
Illinois, just because of Cook County. Cook County is by far the county with the most active pre-foreclosures.
Oh.
In my opinion, they will be for a while. So
Those are the states that it's hard to do other stuff in.
yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
But guys, just because those are the top states, that doesn't necessarily mean to go out and go like
Right.
crazy. Target the markets that because you don't want to be randomly reaching out to pre-foreclosures and markets that you don't understand. So I mean, keep
That's a good
that
point.
in mind too.
That's a great point. So, how often, if we're just doing locally, how often would we want to? Somebody's manually wanting to go down and check records at the courthouse. What is that like? Once a month, once a week, once a
I
year?
don't know. I don't do that, but I know people that do that, and they seem to have good success. And one guy said, I forget where I was talking, but I was doing a webinar once, and a guy, he was in a little town in Michigan. I forget what the county was, but he said he just goes right down and he thinks that he beats the punch, to everyone by doing that. So,
Well, there you go.
you know what I mean?
Okay,
If that
yeah.
guy's accurate, that'll be a good
Well,
strategy.
that's a valid point, yo. I mean, for real, because it takes some time for that information to hit PropStream and all these other data aggregators.
Yeah. I don't know if they're accurate again,
Interesting.
but that's what he said, and it makes sense.
Wow. I went down to the courthouse one time and asked them if I could see the probate records, and they told me they didn't even know what I was talking about. And I was like, you don't know about probate records, like where that's at? Can I look at them? They were like, well, we know what it is, but I mean, we don't let people look at it. And I was like, you don't? They're like, no. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess this course I bought is just a bunch of crap because they said you do. They're like, well, we don't hear. I was like, this is so confusing, man. Like I was like, thank God for PropStream because they was giving me the runaround downtown.
That's crazy.
Is that weird? Am I the only person that's happened to? I don't know. Hopefully not, but maybe. Maybe they were just like, we don't like this guy, whatever. He's weird. Maybe that was it. Maybe I didn't bring him coffee or donuts or something. I should have. I don't know, but I had a hard time at the courthouse. But I guess there's probably a class you could teach on that, even on how to get that done manually. But thank God for PropStream. Somebody wants to know: do you do it virtually? Otherwise, do you do it virtually? Do you recommend doing it virtually or not, or just locally?
I don't necessarily recommend it. I mean, my business model is virtual, but it's not run of the mill. It's very systemized, and
Yeah.
we have a lot of boots on the ground. When I do short sales, for example, there's a listing agent involved in every deal. Even though it's an off-market deal that we're buying, it doesn't matter. There has to be a listing agent. So, I don't recommend virtual. I mean, if you have enough mortgage delinquent data in your local markets, I would start there 100%. It's
Boom.
always better to start locally if you can, because then you
Yeah.
could you could show up and they could see your face. That gives you an advantage.
Right. Right. Good point. Okay, Bob, this link, I put it in the chat, everybody, where you're at. I'm going to do it one more time. What is this link that you shared with us, and what should we do with it?
Guys, this is a course that I created. It's a little over an hour long, the material. There's no fluff. It's right to the point. It's pre-foreclosure fundamentals, pre-foreclosure lead generation. Okay, I talk in depth about generating pre-foreclosure leads and deals. I talk about short sale fundamentals as well. And then what I do, if you're crazy enough to want to go do short sales yourself, or if you just want to understand the process better, even if you are going to partner up with my company on it, either or, it's up to you. I give you an overview of my 12-step system that I created to do short sales. So literally,
Yes.
it's a course that most people would charge for. I was just on the phone with someone yesterday that's gonna, they're interested in marketing it to their group. They want to charge. It's just not something, I'm just giving it away for free. I just want to help people,
Yeah.
give out value, and
Yes.
maybe we'll do deals together. Maybe we won't.
Right.
It's all good.
Bob is all about the value. You know what I mean? Like laying it down for you, letting you have it absolutely free. So click the link in the chat. I've added it to the description here on the platform. Hopefully it adjusted where you're at. Hopefully it showed up in the comment section. Click the link, go get it for free. There's no excuse. All right. And it's going to go into more detail about what we talked about tonight with all the things that we really talked about. And then I'm going to tell you from somebody who's had firsthand experience about the short sale course. It ain't no joke. Okay. It ain't no joke. So if you get a chance to upgrade and you are into short sales, you're studying from the best. Bob's the best.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
So
only short sales, a lot of it's dedicated to short sales too, but a lot of it is just pre-foreclosure information, a lot of good lead gen stuff.
boom.
So yeah. Sign up for it.
Confidence comes from, you lose anxiety. Here's what I learned. You lose anxiety when you educate yourself out of ignorance. Is that fact? I think it's fact. You lose anxiety when you educate yourself out of ignorance. And when you educate yourself out of ignorance, you'll look around and realize that there's a lot of people in your business that are operating ignorantly. Okay. And so what I want you to do is soak this stuff up. All this free material is not like free because it's not worth anything. I don't know. It's free because we're crazy. Really, I don't know why. Because really, he and I both give away way too much. But whatever, it's to your benefit, so you might as well grab it. It's absolutely free. Pre-foreclosure, fast lane, unlocking the big opportunity in short sales. All right. So click the link in the description. Go check it out. Bob, I've had an awesome time with you tonight.
I love coming on here, man. It's like I say every time, it's, what you created is so much different from so many people. It's an actual community. So it's awesome. Congratulations on
Thanks,
that.
bro. I appreciate that. I can't really take the credit for it because nobody gets rich in this business alone. It's all about you guys. And you've all been really helpful in my accountability needs. You kind of help me stay accountable too, like the 12-step program you was talking about. I've got a different one that I go to. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really, but I probably would benefit from it, because there's some accountability and some discipline that, that they want you to enact in your life. And that's kind of what the club and the community here has done for me. And Bob, you've been a wonderful part of that for the last several years. I cannot thank you enough, and I cannot recommend you highly enough. And I don't say that about everybody I've met. I do say that about Bob. You know what? I'm not one of those people that screws around that much. I mean, like I play around, I joke around a lot, but when it comes to business and money, I do not play around. And Bob, he's the real deal. Or you wouldn't see him hanging around me for the last several years because he's a real fucking thing, man. You know, it's like he's Pepsi, real thing.
Why not Coke?
Well, see, Pepsi had like this ad back in the 80s, I think it was, called The
Oh,
Real Thing.
got you.
And
I
so
didn't.
that was just that was before your time,
Think-
man. I don't think you're old enough to know that.
Yeah.
All right, I don't think there's any more questions here in the chat. We still have a great number of folks watching this though, so we probably ought to just say goodbye to everybody. Is there anything else we need to cover before we get out of here, Bob?
No, guys, reach out to me anytime. Don't feel like you have to have a lead or a deal. You know, PM me on Facebook, whatever, you know, reach out, sign up for that
Yes.
course. You know, reach out to me. We'll chat, and I'm happy to always answer any pre-foreclosure or short sale questions you guys have. So
Thank you.
that's
Yeah.
it. That's
Bob's awesome. You know, Bob is a part of my network. Make Bob a part of your network because, like I just said a few minutes ago, nobody gets rich in this business of real estate alone. Nobody. Okay. You don't need more technology. God in heaven knows you don't need more technology. You don't need more strategies and techniques. You don't need more courses and more classes and more books. You need more friends. That's really what you need. You need friends like me and Bob, okay? And we need friends like you. So let's be friends. All right. Love you, Bob. Thanks for being here, man. We'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Cool. Cool. Appreciate you, dude. All right. I'll see
Appreciate you.
everyone later. Thanks, Lee, for being here. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And
See you
we'll
guys.
see you again next time. See you next week. We'll be talking about creative real estate. All right. Bye bye. Learn to take over house payments and you can do as many deals as you want.